Hello and welcome to episode 114 of the HamCorp Training Manual. In this episode, we will implement a variety of different infrastructure upgrades, most notably a second MEVF and a cleanup of the chem building. Just got done upgrading the beam lines, so now I have a stocking input bus with my long lanthanum hexaboride rods, and on the bottom of the source chamber, I have a machine controller cover with a wireless receiver connection. This signal comes from the target chamber, where on this orange subnet, which can see the input bus here and the focus input bus, I have a level emitter set to 1. This is similar to the infusion setup. So if there's anything in the system, which means if there's anything in either of these two input buses, then there's a signal which turns on the machine, which sends particles here until the craft is done. Which means I can remove lanthanum hexaboride rods from all of these patterns. And I have. It also means I could really tidy up this orange cable. If you remember before, it used to go kind of all the way along this, and it looked sort of nice, but I like this better. This is a lot cleaner. I'm waiting on a few more laser vacuum pipes to actually plug everything in, and then this is done. And now it's time to get rid of all the nuclear stuff. And while I'm at it, I'm also going to get rid of this stuff. Semi-fluid burner, my large, what is this called? XL turbo gas turbine is gonna go. These combustion engines are all gonna go. Well, here's a lot of freed up space for more NAC reactors. Next up, I just got done crafting 32 UHV energy hatches because I realized I'm not using all the parallels for the Vulcani over here, so if I just upgrade the energy hatch, it's as good as making more Vulcani. So I'm going to swap out these hatches, swap out these cables for UHV, hope that my power system is able to keep up, and while that's going, I'm going to deal with some other stuff. I'm out of helium plasma, which is not great. And I'm out of helium plasma because I'm out of helium-3, and I am very low on deuterium. Deuterium can be gas siphoned at Uranus, and helium-3 can be gas siphoned at Neptune. I can also set up a pump on the moon, or on Mercury, and this might be a bit better, a bit faster, but I do already have a Neptune space station, so this would be pretty easy to set up. I also still need more bedrockium and cosmic neutronium, along with a ton of Nequadria. So I'm just going to keep micromanaging the space elevator until I get those done. Oh, I also still need to set up another chlorobenzene pump on Mars, so I will do that as well. A lot of space stuff that needs to happen right now. At this point, I could also make awakened draconium coils, and these are good for a couple of different things. So first of all, I could use it at my Mega EBF and also my Mega ABS. This will make things cheaper, and for the EBF, it'll even potentially overclock a few recipes more perfectly, which is nice. Same thing for the neutronium and cosmic neutronium. I haven't actually checked if this is going to benefit from the overclock, but it is going to get a slight EU discount, and that alone makes it worth it in my eyes. And finally, awakened draconium coils allow me to infinitely use one catalyst in ExxonMobil chemical plants. I don't need to keep supplying catalysts like I do here. I can just have a single catalyst and it will never break. And awakened draconium coils are pretty cheap, I think. It's just awakened draconium. And I have quite a bit of awakened draconium, and I can easily get more from space mining. It's a relatively quick blast as well, but I'm gonna need a lot of ingots. So I'm gonna set that up to smelt, but I think I'll make like 500 for now to start. While all that's happening, I'm gonna go to Mars, set up my chlorobenzene, I'm gonna go to Neptune, Uranus, set up my pumps, and then I'll be back to replace all the coils. Oh, it's not even that the pump has depleted the oil field or the chlorobenzene field. It's actually just that I ran out of hog. So this hasn't been getting power. Okay, well, I'm gonna instead upgrade this to UV. I don't really need to, but I may as well. And I'm going to use an aquata reactor instead. I'm a silly boy. I have requested about 2,000 awakened draconium coil blocks. I said 500 before, but like, what was I thinking? The MEBF alone needs like 800 or something. So I requested 2,000, and unfortunately that means I have to just wait until this is done because everything else is kind of waiting for this EBF. Oh, well, so be it, I guess. The awakened draconium coils are still crafting. I didn't think about the actual step of making these coils. This is also pretty slow, 60 seconds at UHV, and I still need to craft 1,840. That's a bit less than 4 hours of waiting, but at least now my EBF has been freed up to do other stuff. So I'm going to let these coils continue to blast, and I just want to comment that The awakened Draconium coils do indeed grant me a perfect overclock for neutronium, but it doesn't for cosmic neutronium. So if I run out of coils, it might be smart for me to not upgrade the cosmic neutronium and only upgrade the neutronium blasters. Also, I think I'm going to first make a second Mega EBF because one Mega EBF is starting to not be fast enough. So I think it's about time we make a second one. So instead of upgrading these coils, I think I will just make a whole new EBF and just stack it on top. And then I'll use the rest of the coils to upgrade things around the base. And if I have enough coils left over after that, then I'll make a third EBF. Or I'll upgrade this one. I don't know, undecided. But for now, while this is going, I am going to set up my stuff in space, the gas siphons and such. Alright, second space station. This one will be named in Uranus. This is one tier lower than the Neptune space station, so actually it's not that much power to power things here. I'm still going to make things UV so that I can use the Naquata reactors for the fuel efficiency. So deuterium is going to come in really fast. Cool, that's deuterium. Pretty simple. I've already set up helium-3 on Neptune, and deuterium being done means that I can get rid of this setup. This is my old noble gas and deuterium centrifuge that comes from air, so I don't really need this anymore. Same thing with this this radon loop. I really don't need this anymore either. So I think decluttering has quite a bit of value for me because there's a lot of stuff going on here. So I am happy to rip these up. So I just swapped out my coils for my Vulcanite, and I expected this to be a bit faster, but it's exactly the same speed. And I was confused about that for a second, but I think I know why. I think it's because I'm not fully saturating the parallels here. So if I had all 8 parallels in use, only then would overclocks happen. So this would help, but I need better energy hatches first. So this was a bit premature to do this upgrade, but it's cheap enough. Awakened Draconium is pretty cheap. Now I'm going to upgrade my Mega EBF, or rather I'm going to make a second MEBF. Unfortunately, I can't share any coils, just because of how the structure is, but I can share a layer of glass. And I'm going to do that. I'm going to have them stacked vertically, so I've moved the controller to the side here. I'm going to share this maintenance hatch, because why not? But I think for the input buses here, I am actually not going to share them, and I'm instead going to do a parallelization setup, like with the dual interface P2Ps. That's more scalable because I can attach them to however many MEBFs as I want, instead of just sharing them between 2. Now I'm just waiting for my cosmic neutronium blocks, or my cosmic neutronium glass blocks. Pretty slow. It's quite a bit of AFK time right now. But things are coming along. I'm making wet wares, I'm making more coils. Class. Oh, also I forgot to mention that the precise auto assembler does accept laser target hatches, but I would have to make UHV hatches to do the same things that I can right now. So I've set up the laser line, and I've targeted a block here, and I'm going to replace this with a target hatch eventually, but for now, I've just upgraded to a 16 amp UHV energy hatch. So it's pretty fast, like this is good, but the laser would be better. The only reason I'm not using the laser right now is because UHV power into here to be equal to this or more is basically more than the power I'm providing through this laser pipe. So this needs to be upgraded first, and then I can add that. And actually, while I'm at it, I can also upgrade the precise auto assembler. There's still 2 more tiers of precise casings I can make, and I should, because this one can be done. And the 4th one, I think this can also be done, because it's molten precious metals alloy, which I can make now, Tairitsu, nether stars, UEV machine casings, which I can do. The only thing I haven't looked closely at is the high computation station, Mark IV. There's a bunch of stuff here, but it doesn't, like, I recognize all these items, so that gives me hope. I think it's totally doable. So I think I will also work on upgrading this to Mark IV, which means I'll also have to upgrade the precise auto assembler to Mark III, at least. But I may as well make this Mark IV as well. A lot of stuff happening. A lot of minor upgrades? I don't even know if they're minor upgrades. These are kind of significant. Also, I mentioned last time that I would look into whether I need to store Mark II Naquata fuel and Mark I Naquata fuel. And the answer is I don't. So I can absolutely rip this up. I don't need this Mega Chem Reactor here. I can use it for other stuff, possibly for the chem building overhaul. And I also can rip up this Mark II fusion reactor. Now, the polybenzimidazole is taking a long time to build up. And the reason is I am pretty much completely out of ammonia, which is not good. Now, I can gas siphon it here, but I think that's actually not going to work out because this is 400 per second as a base speed for one gas siphon. I make 10 times that in this chemical reactor, and this is not keeping up. I did just free up a mega chemical reactor, so you can probably guess what I'm going to do with it. In fact, a lot of these recipes I could do in one MCR if I just lock the output hatches so that there is no free output hatch, and then I can just provide like straight up hydrogen, nitrogen, chlorine, whatever, and it'll just make the correct things because the outputs are filtered. Let me put it together so it's clear what I mean by that. And also upgrade this to be laser compatible because the MCR would benefit from lasers. Guys, holy shit. I am the best GregTech player to ever exist. Look at this insane level of pre-planning that was totally 100% intended. The mega chemical reactor fits exactly in the space with a one block thing around it. But I'll have to shift it over by one, but you see what I mean. Like, it's perfect. All right, I'm gonna move these recipes over now. Look at all this freed up space. That's so good. I managed to jam quite a few things into one mega chem reactor. All the outputs here are locked, so there are no conflicts because it's not possible. So I'm making a bunch of acids here now. I have water as a byproduct that I'm storing and voiding overflow. Methanol, acetic acid, ammonia also is being made really fast now. And the way I'm doing this is I have an input bus with all the different program circuits. Here's my stocking input hatch with a bunch of different fluids going in, and my stocking input bus. I am very low on borax, as always. But yeah, I think there are more recipes I could fit into an MCR, and then I think I can make the polybenzimidazole much faster. Because this, believe it or not, is running at EV. No wonder it's so slow. Also, I'm trying to parallelize these two blast furnaces, and I thought the dual interface P2P would be a pretty trivial solution, but it's really not. Because the dual interface P2P, I send in items and fluids, and I need to have storage buses on the items and storage bus for the fluids. But this kind of ends up meaning I need to make multiple fluid hatches because I can only have one like pair of destinations. Because if I put it all on the same subnet, then there's no guarantee that items get put into the correct bus. And that could be a problem. So I think what I'm going to do instead is I am going to stocking input hatch some xenon, and I'm going to share that stocking input hatch. And then all the recipes that don't use xenon, I will double check and make sure that they work, and I'm not going to parallelize them. I'll just live with the speed of 1 MEBF, at least until I get crafting input buffers, but that's going to be a while. And what I'll do instead is with that stocking input hatch set to xenon, I will use crafting input buses and crafting input proxies, and I will remove xenon from the recipe. So then when I want to expand, I just need to add more proxies, and that should be pretty easy. Let me craft these up and then I'll explain how they work. So I've set these up. At least I've set one up. What I have here is 6 crafting input buses. I've only configured one, and I've set the program circuit to 11 here, and I have a recipe without any fluids. This is important because the crafting input bus cannot handle fluids. So here I have my 256 HSSS ingots encoded, and I've linked this crafting input bus to this crafting input proxy, and you can see that it's linked because you can see the recipe inside. And the way you link these things is you left click the bus, and then you right click the proxy, and now it's linked. You can also rename the proxies to whatever you want. So now if I make, for example, 2 crafts of 256 HSSS ingots, both these MEBFs should come online. Looks like it doesn't work. Not sure why it's not working. It's a bit confusing because it says HSSS dust 512, so the dust is in here. Oh. I think it's because the crafting input buses and proxies are treated as separate to this stocking input hatch, so it doesn't see these contents. So if I change this to 1, then it should work. Yeah, there it is. Okay, interesting. So, that makes it so much harder. Okay, well, so I guess I can't really use the proxies for this purpose, but what I can do, I can have this stocking set up, and I can use maybe linked input buses instead. Those are a little more annoying to set up, but that might be my best solution right now. So now I have linked input buses over here. This one, for example, is set to program circuit 11 and channel MEBF_11. That's the same as this one down here, which is connected to the actual interface. One thing to note is that I did have to change the program circuit individually. So just linking these two input buses with this channel does not also link the program circuit configuration. So I had to set it here and I had to set it up there. If I request a bunch of HSSS, both these MEBFs should come online. And they do. Nice. A little bit less elegant than the crafting input bus and proxy setup, but that one can't handle fluids, so what are you gonna do? Okay, all migrated. Well, I say all, not quite. So there are some recipes that use a different fluid. For example, a lot of these use oxygen or hydrogen. Some of them use weird stuff like silane nitrogen plasma mixture. All of those, I'm just going to do on the single EBF. I think it should be fine. If there is something that's significantly slow, then I'll figure something out for it, but I think this should be fine. So, nice. Parallelized EBFs. Still a few more resource shortages to work out. I'm going to start with polybenzimidazole. Alright, another nice big cleanup. Everything has been stuffed into one mega chem reactor. So this one makes a bunch of stuff, but the end products that I really care about are phthalic acid and molten polybenzimidazole. So everything else is just the intermediate steps for making the polybenzimidazole, which is kind of crazy. But yeah, it works. It's pretty nice. So that has been solved. Methane is suddenly an issue somehow, and also chlorine has been very painful. Everything else is kind of just a matter of mining, except in the Quadria, I need to make those centrifuges I talked about before. Nearly there. Almost done, actually. Cool. Okay, a few more integrated ore factories, and these are all connected. So now the most default route, as I call it, which is macerate ore wash macerate centrifuge, that route has 4 integrated ore factories running at LUV. So nearly done with this big batch of ore, so I need to go mine some more. Besides that, I've set up the new Quadria centrifuge. I think I found a pretty nice way to octuple share the stocking input hatch. It's a bit weird, and I learned about this recently, that you can right-click these ME hatch components with a wire cutter, and that changes it to allow ME channels to connect from any side instead of just the front. So now all 5 of these are in a line, and they should be able to accept channels from each other. So if I connect this final red cable, everything should come online, at least once the network updates. So this one's online, this one's online, this is online. Yep. I'm also quad sharing these 2 maintenance hatches. I decided to octuple share the stocking input hatch because it's more expensive than the maintenance hatches, but yeah. And yeah, they will all be running at UV, so each one will get 4 parallels. So what I had before was a single one running on UV, so this is going to be 8 times faster, which is pretty good. All that's left is to just put down the final casings, and then we're good to go. Oh yeah, and I have UHV muffler hatches, of course. Thank you for watching this episode of the HamCorp Training Manual. In the next episode, we will start working on the mothership so we can get UEV components which are required for space pumping. That will be a significant infrastructure upgrade. HamCorp would like to encourage employees to take time to make sure their infrastructure is robust. It's very satisfying. See you next time.